So I want to talk to you about Sunday school. That's what we're going to talk about
Okay.
today. Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, me and Tiff are the 11th and 12th grade Sunday school teachers. So my old Sunday school teacher was John Ing. Shout out to John Ing. Um, yeah, but Tiff is joining me this year. And so Tiff, I wanted to ask you, like, why did you decide to sign up to be a high school Sunday school teacher? Can you give me the story?
So to be honest, for the longest time, I like resisted teaching Sunday school because as background information, I used to be a high school math teacher, and
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to feel like I'm doing work like Monday to Friday and then prepping again for Sunday.
Hmm.
So for a long time, I was like, I don't want to serve in that ministry for right now. And so I think recently I've really been praying about ways that I could serve at our church. And it was so crazy. You randomly, I don't even know how you approached me. It was just so random. I didn't tell anybody I was thinking about it. And then I think you approached me or something. I think it was just casual. I think you were just trying to recruit anybody. So you're like, hey, you want to do Sunday school? And I was like, whoa, what the heck? And so I was like, oh, that kind of piqued my interest. So yeah, I was just really, and I think that was God opening that door for me to like serve in this way. And it's crazy because I was always like no, like hard no on that. So yeah, he really opened that door. And I think another thing was I really think 11th through 12th grade, honestly, I feel like if you were taught another grade, I would
Mm,
have been like, oh, I don't know. But I
mm,
think the fact that it's 11th through 12th, I have always loved like this grade because it's almost like they're almost done with high school and launching into college, and it's such a special time to kind of like be with them and guide them and learn from them as well, I feel. So yeah, everything kind of aligned, and here I am.
mm. Well, I'm glad that you said yes. You know what? I totally forgot that I was the one to ask you. For some reason, I thought that like, oh, Tiff approached me and she was like, "Hey, I want to teach Sunday
Oh no.
school," but I forgot. Thanks for setting the record straight. Um, do you remember where we were? Now that you said it, I sort of do remember. I asked you, yeah, do you remember where we were? We were at somebody's house or something?
Was it at your house? I
Was it
feel
my
like we were
house?
just eating in and out or something. Oh no, that was
Oh,
before. I don't know.
oh, you might be right. Actually, you might be right. Maybe it was. Yeah, or maybe like maybe that's when like I got serious about it because like sometimes I would just ask, like, "Hey, what do you think about Sunday school?" Maybe that's when I got serious. But okay, to be clear though, I don't ask everybody or I don't ask people randomly, okay?
Okay.
Like I did specifically ask you in particular, okay? Like I do remember that. Yeah, it's not
Okay.
I
Okay.
don't just ask anybody off the street, okay? Or just yeah. Well, yeah, Tiff, I think that you and we do share the same, I guess, heart for that 11th and 12th grade class. I mean, I've been teaching that class for a long time, and I think talking to you, I think we're on the same page in terms of like, yeah, those are some special years, and so I'm very happy to invest with those students. Tiff, you want to go over what we did in class today? Today was the first class of the new year. Yeah, can you just say what we did and maybe what you learned about the students?
Yeah. So today was a lot of like welcome and
Mm,
icebreakers. Let's see. We started off with like a four corners. Like I intentionally wanted to start it off with them mingling before we like introduced ourselves. So
mm,
we
mm.
did four corners. I had a bunch of prompts and I had them like choose the corner that best matched their response. And I did something called mixed pair share where the students were given a prompt or I played music and it was basically like mix around until the music stops and find the nearest person. And that was just to get into more like in-depth
Mm.
questions for everyone to kind of get to know each other. Questions like, what's the story behind your name? Or what was something stressful you've gone through? Stuff like that. And then afterwards, like just to switch it up, I had them do a student questionnaire, which just kind of gathered, like on a Google form, gathered some like basic information about our students. And then then you and I introduced ourselves, and then and then we did rapid fire questions
Yeah.
on everybody. And so, yeah. And then after that, then I kind of shared what Sunday school would look like, what our hopes are, what our vision is for the class. And so that was kind of the day. I mean, it was really typical to like our, like what I would do in the class, you know, like what I would do in the first week. Really just, the goal is just to get to know our students and for our students to get to know each other.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I learned, I mean, I was kind of the creeper, like listening into everyone's like conversations, but it's gotta get a snapshot of like, okay, who has siblings, like who lives where, what are their interests, and how do they like to learn? I asked questions about their personality.
Mm.
I learned a lot of them are very empathetic and caring
Right, right.
people. So it's just interesting to see where people fall. And I'm sure if I did this at the end of the year, everyone would maybe fall at a different place.
Oh, that'd be fun. That'd be a fun
Yeah,
idea.
just see
Yeah,
like, oh, how have you changed this year? So,
yeah,
yeah, very like broad. I would say it was a very broad, like get to know you kind of day.
yeah. I mean, I appreciate the activity. At first, I was just like, yeah, we're just going to like sit around and just, introduce each other and like say what our hobbies are. But you took it to a different level, really making it active. And so what I learned is that these students apparently they like the group activities. I think one of the questions was like, "Oh, what's your learning style?" Like, go to the corner that represents your learning style. And I was literally the only one that stood in like the lecture corner. I was the only one. It was so ridiculous. And so I think most of them went to like what the group learning. I think.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, there was another one too that had a good amount.
Um,
What was it? I
it
mean,
was
it
like
wasn't.
explore on your own, like kind of discovery based learning.
Discovery, yeah, 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 yeah. That was a good one. Yeah. So should we talk about our I guess our tactic for this year? I guess I don't know if we want to go through that much. I mean, I think you're going to be great because you're going to actually really try hard to do the group activities in Sunday school.
Yes,
Yeah.
I hope so. Yeah, yeah.
Um,
You know what? I feel like I
hmm.
can never do what you do. Like it would make me so anxious to like do lectures. You're like so engaging in the way that
Oh, you're kind, Tiff.
you
Thanks.
I was telling Ray, like I feel like you really believe, I can tell you've prepped so much and you truly like wholeheartedly believe everything that you're teaching us.
Oh, that's
And
kind,
you
Tiff.
say it in
Thank
such an
you.
engaging way, like the way you like fluctuate, like I feel like I wouldn't be able to do that. So
Oh man, thank you, thank you. That honestly means a lot. I mean, you're a professional, so thank you, thank you. No, well, I'm happy then. I guess we can both learn from each other then.
Mhm.
Okay, how about this? This will be our last question, and then we'll get going. But yeah. So I mean, we're gonna do more group activities in Sunday school, and I know that you do that sort of when you were a teacher before, right? Like you were more interactive, I think.
Yes.
So okay, like how do you see the difference between like teaching spiritual things like in Sunday school, right? Things of God, the Bible, things like holiness, like these really spiritual things versus like what you would teach in a public school where you were just teaching math. Like,
Yeah.
what's your approach? How do you view that difference,
I'm
if at
glad
all?
you asked me this question because I was just thinking like it's very
Mm,
different. Like I feel like the content in itself is like, even though like these are things that I've learned, I never like studied it. Like I did study math as my major where I knew it very well.
yeah.
And so I feel like I'm going to be like a learner like in real time like as we're teaching this. And so just learning to, yeah, I think I will be studying a lot and learning from your lectures as well.
Okay.
And so that'll be different. And I think the main thing I've learned is that, as a classroom teacher, like teaching math, I felt a lot of pressure. Like, I want to do my best and like incorporate the best strategies because like I'm the teacher. And if I don't teach well, then they're not going to learn well. So
Mm,
I put a lot of that on myself. And I think for Sunday school, it was like so humbling to realize, like, you know what, even if I don't have the best like teaching strategies, or I mess up one week, like it's totally okay because I know it's not me who's like transforming our students' lives.
mm,
Like
mm,
Holy Spirit is the one who's working, and I can have like a total bomb, like I bombed that lesson,
mm.
but even in that failure, like the Holy Spirit could still like transform students' hearts. And I think that's almost like liberating to realize like, hey, this is my first year and I'm still learning and I'm trying new things, but like ultimately it's God who's like working. It sounds very cliche, but I had to like realize that because as a teacher, I was so like, oh my gosh, if I don't get it down to the minute and I don't like, I'm not so intentional, like they're not going to get it. But I
Mm,
this time around really realizing like, I'm like, I know that God can work through me even in my missteps and my failures. And I think like I'm hoping that shines through with our students and knowing that like, we're not called to be like perfect, but as long as
mm,
we're like faithful to his calling, like, like he will do his work. Like he's more powerful than like even the best strategies, that I could come up with. So
mm.
that's the biggest shift in like my planning and mindset.
That's so good. Yeah, Tiff. No, absolutely. I think it's always humbling. I think, right, because yeah, we're the teachers, right, but God is still teaching us through His Word and also through just interacting with the students. And I think you and me have a lot to learn from each other as well. Tiff, thanks so much for going live with me. Let's do this again.
Yeah, thanks, Aaron.
Thanks, Tiff. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.